You're listening to a Reliance podcast, conversations and insights about our efforts to end sexual violence in one generation.
You all very much for your passion that you displayed, for sharing what is happening in your local communities, whether it's 134,000 people or well over several million people that you are serving. Each of your services are paramount to people's lives and their healing from survival to thriving, and we appreciate the work that you're doing. It would be lost if I didn't speak on, because you talked a lot about prevention, and I think the thing that I want to draw a parallel to is, and I think you heard the thread, but our work just isn't inside the doors and walls of rape crisis centers. Our works are in homes, in communities, in gas stations. Jonna, I was having a lot of flashbacks to working at a local service provider because I worked in a rural community right out of college, and my first meeting was in someone's home. I was not prepared to do that right out of college, I might add. But the important piece of that is our work is meeting survivors where they are. And when we speak about prevention, it's important that we acknowledge that our work isn't in a bubble. We don't end sexual violence by only speaking into sexual violence. We end sexual violence by speaking into our communities and recognizing that we all have a role to play. One of the most life-changing moments for me in this work was 10 years ago. I got appointed in North Carolina to the Institute of Medicine study on child success. And so it was literally all about the first 2,000 days of a child's life. And I was like, oh, that's great. They want me to be on their committee. What came out of that committee for me is the success of a child graduating on time in this country is predicted by they live a violence-free life for the first 18 years of their life. You heard Indira start out by speaking about 1 in 4 girls before the age of 18 are sexually assaulted. We've already disrupted their trajectory of being a successful student. Think about that, a student. That's the one thing that we all know that we do in America. At 5 years of age, at least, you're sending your child or you attended a school. For me, that totally shook my world, one, because I had a 3-year-old at the time, but the recognition that my work, I always knew it was greater than the work that I was doing in my community, but what it really said to me is we have to be connected to every institution, every part of our lives, because we are the people that we're speaking about. And we're ending sexual violence for Riley, for every single person that we've touched, for those that we haven't touched but that know that we're there because they can call a free and confidential line just to say, I need to just hear your voice. There are many calls that we take that they never disclose their story. We don't ask them to share their story. They just need to know that we're there. That is what the Violence Against Women Act and all the funding that we ask for in support of here for our federal funding, that's what it does. It allows somebody to be on that line. It allows you to open the doors for someone to say, I just need somebody to listen. It allows you to open a clothing closet. It allows you to meet survivors where they are. If their heads are hung high, we recognize our work is to be there until they can lift them up. That's why we're here. That is the work that we're talking about that can't stop, and it won't stop, and we recognize that you're joining us here today because you support the Violence Against Women Act and will continue to share the importance, not just for the communities that we've talked about, but for all of our communities. One of the things that the National Alliance to End Sexual Violence has been very clear on is we really are speaking into what it means to our sisters who are Native, our sisters who are Latino, and quite frankly, all of our sisters and brothers whose lives are touched by sexual violence. And so I think it's also important because you didn't hear it here, but we want to acknowledge that Reliance and the National Alliance to End Sexual Violence will continue to advocate and support our sisters on tribal lands who do not currently have the ability to prosecute non-Native perpetrators who come onto their land and assault their women, their sisters, our brothers. That is our work. And the more that we see ourselves in the people's eyes that we look in, the closer we get to actually preventing all forms of violence in this country. They are all interconnected. Sexual violence is woven into the fabric of this country, and I wouldn't be able to get up every morning if I didn't think that those of us in this room and across this country didn't have what it takes to end sexual violence. And that is just sheer will. sheer will to say that we'll continue to advocate, we'll continue to talk about it, we'll continue to be present, even if it means our silence is all that they need in that moment. That's the work that I ask you to continue to support us and continue to do.